one out here, what the
On the Union
Union
Center
Center
Road.
Road. So his background check looked good. He filled out all the liquor things correctly. And just he.
How did that pass in that
By
vote?
7 votes.
By 7 votes on Newman's Close.
Oh, you made it on Wet County?
It was a wet county, or
Wet
it
County.
was a dry township, Macon Wet Township.
Back to Wet Township by a few votes, huh?
Yep, so there's his.
Muddy bottoms they call it, huh?
This is a class B.
And then the other one we got here is, it's called Bob Walton's Orchards. They sell wine out of their, it's just packaged wine, right? Their packaged wine,
Bottled wine
that they sell online, right?
online right now, yes.
Right now. So they need a license. It's in Union Township too,
They need a license to sell it online.
They're wanting to move their business to
Yeah,
their
that's
home,
right.
to their home, I'm sorry.
because they are doing it out of Coles County right now.
Okay.
So they need a B license,
So it's retail sale.
sell beer, wine only, so.
It can be done on or off, so that way if they do a tasting sometime, or decide to open up a shop there at their home.
Okay, we might do that eventually.
Probably. So, everything, again, with them is correct. Got the information they needed, the background check was good. Paid the fee, just $300 for class B. And there's that. Look them over, tell me what you guys thinking. Good with it? I mean, I think it's good, but it's your,
Yeah, it's fine.
see what you guys think.
It's fine. There's a lot of nothing to it. We got time.
Yeah.
Should be 5,000 for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, we had 10 last time, probably until we went out this year. So road and bridge.
Yeah.
Like this,
So. And that's it, those are the only two, the
This
only
is
other,
the new one, right?
yeah, that's.
Well, both of them are brand new.
New.
Right. Well, the muddy one, yeah. This one is too.
Yeah, it's in, right now they're in Coles County, but they want to move to their home in Union
Okay.
Township.
So it was in Coles. It was shown 2018.
So, and then the only other thing we need to do is set a date for this hearing.
Was there any reasoning,
Uh,
that they moved down to?
They live in Rural Greenup,
Okay.
and, they have this business in Charleston.
Did they get booted out of Charleston for,
Not that I know of, they do something with big
They're-
equipment.
So they're,
Their last name is Christopher.
you look at it.
And I just looked up and it looked like that the building where their big equipment sales is for sale. So I wonder if they're getting out of that, maybe that is. But they're wanting to move it to their home.
How long is people do that? Nothing to do. Maybe close to retirement age and they're gonna downsize maybe.
Because they had kids that was close to my age.
Okay, I shouldn't have that question.
These two look good?
the
All Alright, the last thing we gotta do, set a date for that hearing with, bikini.
Brian came home.
Let's set it right now. Everybody's here.
What date's open?
I got-
September's gonna be loaded for me.
Okay, so let's do it
The
here.
end of September is really bad, and the beginning of September is really bad.
Can we do like August, let's get like August 24th, 30th, or 31st, is there a Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
What time of day will that be?
You guys pick.
I'm busy in the morning on 24th.
Is there any way that we can do it on the September board meeting day?
Can't-
Before the actual board meeting?
It'll take a while.
Does it have to be done during working hours or?
Yeah, it'd be a hearing, judge of.
Yeah, I don't know, it'll have to be here, I mean, it's a hearing, no, it's gonna be here,
Or would be here?
it'll be right here. But it, I mean, it's a proceeding, I mean, it's gonna be a long one.
You think we'll be an hour or more?
It might be a little over an hour. Unless, we plan it at least an hour. Cause they're gonna present their stuff, we'll present our stuff, a lot of questioning.
Which judge you have?
Now, we're not having, there won't be a judge here.
Oh, okay.
We have to record it and then send
he
it
will
to,
decide.
and then send it to a judge.
Hey, judge, okay. I don't.
You say the 24th?
Yeah, so 24th or I said the 30th, the 31st, whatever works best.
Isn't Tuesday a big court date usually for court, normal court, so would Brian be available on a Tuesday?
So let's pick the 24th.
24th at, sounds good, 3:30, okay.
Should work.
Alright, let's mark that down.
24th of August.
There are many meetings out in September.
Oh, it's probably a good thing you can do. So, hey, you know, maybe we'll just go real quick and we'll.
Yeah.
That's his name, called me.
He's calling you.
And he said something about, I mentioned to him, my neighbor went past there 4:30 in the morning, and the person leaving, he was about 4:30 in the morning, I thought he was closed. I said, well, that's our other entity that's there. Oh, you got another entity in that building?
Premises is what, a license.
And I said, well, who's provided, in case we have a liability problem, who is gonna be liable for something, go on, is it him or is a tenant, is it him? I said, how do I know you got somebody there? I go, well, I can send you a copy of my lease. Yeah, you do that, will you? He never showed up.
Well, I asked, when I was at the Galena, up at, what is that, the UCCI meeting, I asked their lawyers about that. And when it comes to liquor license, it's the whole premises is what it is. It's not just,
Not the first floor.
it's not the first floor, second floor, it's the premise is what the liquor
Oh,
license
yeah,
covers,
remember that.
is what they told me. Jason broke on me.
So, he ain't got suits.
Any other things? Anything else?
No, that's all I got for the liquor meeting.
Alright,
Okay.
I call this closed at 6:40. All right, you said you got it figured out?
Yep.
So they changed that setback.
Two.
It was 25 on their side, and they changed it to 30,
Okay,
and so that's good, it says.
everything else was good?
And they added that county clerk certificate.
Okay.
Dick, you said 30 feet is the setback, is that 30 feet?
It's, the minimum is 55, and they went 30 off of the first 30. So they're actually 60 is what they're saying the building setback is now.
And usually goes from the center of the road or
The center of the road, yeah.
Center of the road, it goes. I didn't know what it was for most of the county, that was for everything in the county would be that way.
No, the township roads are 55, and
Yeah, we need.
the county road is 75, it says here, and then the state, which doesn't concern us, but it's 85. I brought a couple copies of that if you want to see it.
So it's 75 for county and 55 for township.
Right, and that doesn't mean if they ask for a variance that you guys couldn't give it, it's just not, approved here at this meeting.
Right.
Okay,
You got any questions on it, you think?
I don't.
Anybody?
So you
And they
guys
did what they-
good with it?
Good.
I'm good with it, they did what we asked them to.
yeah, they should be in compliance, right? And they can go ahead and sell subdivision if they want to. Seems like, should be a problem.
All right?
Okay.
be long.
Be quick, easy meeting.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Yeah.
Yes. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make it. Second.
Right.
Black?
Yes.
Beard?
Yes.
Harmon?
Yes.
Wolfenberg?
Yes, motion carried. I need a motion to approve the regular board meeting, held on July 12, 2020. Second.
I'll second.
Beard?
Yes.
Fitch?
Yes.
Harmon?
Yes.
Wolfenberg?
Yes.
Black? Black?
Abstain. Motion carried. Do we have any public comment this time? Mr. Park?
Yes. Just wanted to talk to you all about a few changes coming down the line at the courthouse and what it's gonna mean a little bit for everybody. We've had changes in the bond law that took effect this year. Brian and I just this last weekend had, he emailed me a complaint in 48 hours, went over that Saturday, met with the client in jail, and we had bond court on Sunday. That's nothing compared to what's coming down the road. What's coming down the road, and we could do that bond court at this time via Zoom, and we did. We have bond court coming up for conditions on release that have to be done within 24 hours of the defendant's arrest. That, so it looks like we could have court 7 days a week. And as of now, that bill says we cannot have Zoom or conference meetings via electronic means. They have to be in person. There is a bill coming, hopefully, to allow Zoom conferences and meetings, but these positions are going to take a whole lot more time. That's coming, it's happened. I bet this year so far, we've had maybe, just a rough estimate, 10 to 15 times that we've had bond court on weekends. And the way the judges work out currently, it means if January 1st, Brian and I are gonna have to travel to Coles County to have those bond hearings. Now, the judges may change their procedure or how they handle that. Judge Brayton may become available for us on the weekend, I don't know. But right now, in the circuit, they assign one judge for bond court for the weekend, and it's done by Zoom. But unless the legislature changes the law, we aren't gonna have that. We're gonna have to be in person. There's studies out there that they say that in-person bond court is more favorable to the defendant than doing it by Zoom. Steve's seen this issue and had to, they upgraded their stuff, and we've done a lot by Zoom, and their office has been very cooperative in getting that and working the times. It's delved in to when I started here. We had the judge set the bond, you come in later after he set the bond and asked for a reduction. Now we gotta have a hearing for the judge to set the bond. So things are getting a lot more jammed up. This position has not had a raise since 2008 or 9. I'll pass out a sheet and we can maybe talk about it and set an executive session where we can talk money or so forth, but it's quickly becoming a losing proposition for me. One of the things you guys take into consideration, Clark County's got a full-time public defender, $130,500 a year. Edgar, Jasper, Newton, or Clay County, Macoupin County, Shelby County, all these counties around us have gone full-time public defenders. I'm not suggesting that we need to go there at this point in time. Let's see how it plays out for a little bit. But if I'm doing 5, 6, 7 days a week to this job, and my weekends are gonna be ruined, that's worth some money, I think. And I would suggest to you it is. You know, and Brian can tell you, you know, what's coming also. And it's gonna be a lot more work on his office. You know, the state has continually changed things and put you guys in a bind, I know that. They went and mandated what you gotta pay the sheriff. You know, they've cut out a lot of fines, costs, and court assessments. You know, almost every felony case we have here waives their assessments. Your revenue's being cut, you're mandated to pay more. I know it's in not a good position for everybody. But, you know, I'm the last basically attorney in the county. You got Mr. Cutright who practices a little bit. But, you know, at the current rate that you're paying somebody, when I leave, which I hope is several years down the road yet, but you're gonna have a hard time finding somebody that's gonna wanna drive out of Effingham or Charleston, Mattoon to come down here possibly 4 or 5 days a week. You know, what was considered to be back then a part-time position. And our caseload is going up. No offense to the sheriff, but we got some young officers that are writing a lot more tickets. You know, and that may be good. Yeah, traffic cases, you can't waive the assessments. But on a lot of the other cases, you can. The other thing that's gonna happen when we change to a no bond system, and I think Rhonda can tell you, you know, they post bond, if everything's waived, they still get the money from the bond. But if they don't have any bond sitting there, your revenue's gonna dry up from the courthouse. The only way you're gonna get revenue is off the traffic cases. So, I mean, it's a tough situation, and as I said, I'll pass out, you know, just for instance, you know, this last week I had the gals keep track. I've got 2 secretaries. And on PD cases alone, emails, letters, faxes, and text messages, because our system's set up where we can text people, tell them you need to be at court or call us, whatever. In 5 business days, 208 of those. 74 phone calls. 10 appointments in the office. The appointments last about a half hour each time. Let's say the other is 5 minutes, a phone call or email. There's over 41 responses that we have to make within a day's time. You know, at 5 minutes per response, that's over 5 hours a day, just responding to text messages, emails, faxes, and phone calls. For, you know, so I have to have staff to do it. that secretary cost me $14 an hour. With bike and everything thrown in, that's about 31,000 a year off the salary that you're paying. Business expenses I've got on here, amount to 8,000 or 9,000. And, share. The percentage of my caseload right now is about roughly 58 to 60% public defender and 40% private. I'm using the private to pay for the staff, the overhead, the copier, and so forth. So I'll pass these around, but would like an opportunity to sit down with you and in a closed section and discuss this.
We'll have a budget meeting here.
Right.
So, to go over this. So it's usually when we set the thing.
Right.
So you said the state doesn't allow Zooming now?
As of January 1st, the way the bill is written, they will not allow Zoom.
As
They
January
will-
1st, 2023?
Yes, coming up. And there is a bill that supposedly will modify that. But I wanted to give you guys kind of a heads up of what's coming, what to expect, and where we're
You
going.
said Jasper and Clay, they share a public defender.
They do, but my understanding right now is Jasper pays 64,000, Clay pays 130,500, and that guy handling both counties is making about 190,000. So,
That's why they're sharing one. So,
Huh?
because they tried to share with us,
I know,
so.
and their state's attorney at the time, the one that did the sharing, advised against it to the county board. But, yeah, and that would have been something conceivable we could do. Now, I know Clay County Board has not approved the deal yet, so I don't know what is gonna finally happen. It may open up where we could share one, if he is not allowed to do Jasper. But as I said, every county around here has basically gone to a full-time position. And as I said, I don't think we need to go there, but, it's like in May, I took a few days vacation, took off on Wednesday and went down to Mississippi fishing. I did 3 bond courts by Zoom sitting out in the middle of the lake on a vacation. Because of the deadlines that are imposed. And these deadlines are gonna get tougher and tougher and more stringent. So, every time we have a domestic battery case, if we're gonna wanna set conditions, say he's not gonna have a bond, but he can't contact his wife or his girlfriend, he can't go to the residence, those have to be implemented by the judge. So he's gonna have to go in front of the judge in order to get those conditions. So, and, generally, it's the consensus of about every judge that they will impose those conditions, but it has to go before them. So, yeah, it's a tough situation. Like I said, pass that out. I know you got a bunch of people here.
Well, we'll talk about that at the budget meeting that we'll set up. and-
Okay. Yes, I know she's been wanting me to fill out paperwork, but I don't know, till we can sit down and talk, I don't know what to fill out.
Okay,
So, okay.
thanks, Sean. Chad.
I'm here representing the Special Service Area Commission with the contract for 2023. And then CPI for 2024. Right? Yes, I think 23, next year's levy,
Okay.
5%.
This contract. You have it in front of you.
Then what they had taken out of last year's was about the third-party billing.
pardon me for interrupting, but did they get an audit yet? Or are they still getting the review from the bank?
I believe they are still getting an audit, from what I was told.
They are required to get an audit, so if there is one, I'd like to see it.
So what was the increase on that? Oh, this is already set.
This number is 58,630, so that's set for this year. Now, you're also requesting an increase for the next year.
Yes.
That increases how much?
It goes,
5%?
I thought it was,
Is it on here somewhere? I don't know.
no, it's not on, it's on the other package.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha.
One of them, it goes up to 4.9 or 5.
So, area one,
On one area. And the other area is another.
Each area, so that's select areas, so.
And then the other, next area is another $1,600.
About 29.
About 2,900. Bottom number is what their total increase in the top number.
Increase the top number and the bottom number is total, yeah.
With the increase.
Goes from the first page, up to 17,670, 18,605, so $80, so that's 5%. So we have about $2,900 total.
This is part of it.
No,
no,
that's not this
that's for
one.
next year.
This is just what you're saying, they're asking for next year.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
we're,
And then you guys are still working on the contract and after that with this?
yeah, so we're,
So we're done, we're just approving this
The one-year
current
contract.
contract.
They're asking us to.
So we'll consider the next year's
Levy
levy for coming up in the- for budget, for when we do the budget.
want to make sure you get that out ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Everything else go around that?
Great. That make my time limit?
20 minutes. You got questions?
No, the question?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, a lot of these people here are for this solar, can we move that up to the top?
Can I do one more guess and then we,
Oh, okay.
we do have one more guess that's talked about the ARPA money that we're giving us.
Okay.
Our next guest, ARPA's giving some money towards the daycare, and, Pastor Charles Ewan is here to talk about it, sorry, so just gonna mess it up.
Can I talk from here or I gotta come up here?
You can come on up here. You can talk from there if you want, doesn't matter.
Well, I'm the pastor of Calvary Tabernacle, been here for 3.5 years, and born and raised in Louisiana, love the community, kind of the communities that I'm from in the South, and just began to look into the community. How can the church help? How can the church reach out? And one thing that is apparent is that there really isn't any daycare facility of any size in this county. So our church, we got together, we come together with a plan and a purpose, and we're fixing to build an 18,000 square foot facility just across from our church where it sits right now in the vacant parking lot. And we just didn't want to build it to open it up on Sunday and on Wednesday and occasionally through Friday evening. So we were approached and put together a plan, and we do believe that a daycare facility would be the best interest of our community. And so our church wants to provide that service, not just for our church, but for our community as well. And we're looking to be able, at its peak, at its zenith, to be around 50 kids that we can offer this service to. And so we wanted to come and share that, what I think is great news, not only for the community, but great news for parents and any prospective people that may want to move into this community and be a part of good things in Toledo. So, but that is our goal, our intention. We have our plans together. We've met with contractors, and we're finalizing everything. I did not realize that this was live, so there's probably some church members that are saying, "Oh, really? This is fantastic." So I've not yet completely took it before the church, and we're just about there. We're still waiting on some facts and figures. You know, post-COVID world that we live in, things are a little fluid, so we are fixing to nail everything down and get started. And we're excited to be able to offer this facility and this service to the church. And it's not just a church thing, it is a community thing. And we want to be able to be here for the community in that regard, so.
Yep, we worked on it. They were gonna do it anyway, and we had that ARPA money for a need, for our need, which daycare is a huge need.
We lost our major daycare provider when Y went in.
So when did you say it'll be finalized
Our building,
to start building?
we are fixing to break ground in the next 30 days. And so we look to be up and running by this time next year for school. It's gonna take us roughly a year. In pre-COVID, we're gonna put up a metal building. You could order a building, get it here within 45, 60 days. Unfortunately, we all live now adjusting in post-COVID world. We're 6 months out, and so that does give us an opportunity to pour our concrete and move some things along. Everything now just kind of moves at a much slower pace. It's frustrating. Trust me, it's took us a long time to get to this point. I want to pull my hair out, but my wife said it's my best feature, and I don't know what would happen to our relationship after that. So I just want to keep what's keeping us happy here. And so, but it's not the fact that the church is moving slow. We are just really truly at the mercy of a lot of contractors and moving parts here. And it's took a long time to get everything nailed down and put together. So, but we look to be up and running by this time next year and be able to open our doors. We've already started an after-school program to start a business model so that we can get a heads up on kind of operating cost, who's going to be involved from our church, and to just kind of get, instead of macroeconomics, go micro in the beginning, and then branch out from there. So,
When does that ARPA money have to be used by?
2024.
2024.
How big is the building? The lot across from the church
They don't get
isn't really super large.
the building itself is going to be around 18,000 square foot.
18,000.
The bottom level will be right at 12,000, and then it will have a mezzanine above it.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So it'll be 2-story. Yes. Daycare facilities and everything will be on the bottom, and then we're going to we'll have our Sunday school and our youth program, things of that nature, above in the mezzanine. And in the full disclosure, we're not trying to out YMCA the YMCA. We're out of space in our current church now with our dinners and things. So we're building a fellowship hall, and it would be a waste of space not to put a basketball goal at each end, stripe it for a volleyball court, and use it for that as well. So we're not trying to take anything away from the YMCA. We rent the YMCA on a frequent basis to use it for our church. So we're not trying to take any, we love that facility. So, but it's going to be right at a little over 18,000 square foot said and done. So it'll be a really nice place.
Sounds like.
Yes, sir. I've done that good of a job. Well, this is fantastic. I'm going to grab my phone and then head out.
Well, thank you.
This has been easier than business meeting at the church. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go down the list here so we can get this. There's a lot of you here for it. We'll discuss and take action on solar farms. Anybody in the audience wanna jump on?
Well, I've been getting some calls and, concerns about the solar farm, so I just, want to bring it up here and that gives people an opportunity to talk.
Right.
My name's Roger Watt. I live over on the very western edge of the town. I'm not sure how much the board's aware or not aware. There's a lot of action going on these solar farms, especially if you have ground that's got access to 22,000 volt lines. We have a lot of that. We've been getting inundated with, opportunities to call.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to thank you guys for putting on the agenda so quick, because this is going on all over the county, not just on our side of the county. It's going inside the town. I've been meeting with the people, and they're actually looking at putting a big solar farm actually inside the city of Livingston County.
How big?
65 acres. So, and they're pretty concerned that that's gonna be a good town. Because you start surrounding towns with solar farms, it's pretty hard to grow them.
Yeah.
But anyway, solar technology is new. It's called green. I'm not against solar technology. What I what I'm against is that it's moving so quickly, and I think there's a lot of misinformation out there. And I don't think that to be done correctly, there's gotta be some foresight and planning done on siting and long-term, what's gonna happen to your county from having these farms. There's some really large farms getting, several thousand acre farms getting put in. Just down the road from my house, I have several hundred acres already signed up.
What, do you know what company that is? I haven't heard anything about the eastern side.
I'm not sure, I didn't talk to the.
We have 3 coming in on the eastern side already.
Me personally, so I know, I stand personally, our family's farmed all our lives in Cumberland County. I have 3 boys that want to farm. If I have solar panels on my farm, it's pretty hard for them to farm. And so I'm personally for our farm, I don't want them. I've got a lot of land that they want, because it runs up and down the power lines. But that's just, so, these companies are new large capital companies. Basically what they're in for, they're harvesting tax credits. These companies are moving really quickly, because the faster they move, the faster they sign up, the less they're gonna pay in rent, because people don't really know what their ground's worth yet. And, they're here basically to harvest these credits and to get all this government money. It's gonna have to get signed a bunch more money this weekend as they pass out of the bill. They're all about the bottom line, they're not about the community. Most of these companies, I'm sure, aren't even from this area. Basically, the faster they move, the less you regulate them, and the less you tell them where they should and shouldn't put their stuff. Without government tax incentives, these projects, like many projects, don't work. So basically, these are taxpayer funds, you got, everybody brings funding these projects. If we're paying for them, we all have at least some say in what happens to them. They're not local, they don't have any ties to community. Over in my area, we have, there's always been a saying, remember the Alamo. Well, in the other, we call it remember the Reliant. We got a total screwing with the Reliant, plant. And I happened to just get a nice brochure from a solar company today. And who knows, maybe the same company that printed up the Reliant printed these. Had all these fine promises in here, and which didn't come to being. So basically, Reliant promised Neoga area, promised the school districts all this tax money. They talked about funding lake projects, improvements to the lakes, they draw water from the lake. They talked about throwing money to local organizations for charity work. They talked about all these great things they were gonna do. Well, after about 2 years, and them paying in about a little over $500,000 in taxes to Neoga School District, they had better attorneys than we have in Cumberland County. And they went up and they got their tax bill wiped out, because I don't understand how, but they declared all those generators movable objects. But yet, these farmers in this room all have grain bins, they're bolted to a concrete pad, they're taxed. And Cumberland County does a pretty good job of taxing them. So,
And didn't the taxing entities have to pay back, like the
the other school district paid over $500,000 back.
It really hurt the school district.
It was a mess.
They had to really,
So, they had to bring these things across my ground. I had to give them a special easement and build them a road across my ground so they could get all these humongous generators in. And so so the community could get this tax dollars, and within 2 or 3 years it was gone. So, I guess, when you guys are thinking about this, you know, and they say, we're gonna pay tax dollars. Well, is every one of those solar panels gonna be portable? You know, does it cost $500,000, or how much does it cost to make your solar panels in? You gonna get paid? If your ground's not farm ground, how are you gonna assess it? You know, so, the other thing is these companies tend to change hands a lot. You got companies out here getting leases, those people getting leases or something to another company, and then selling to another company. Before it's 20-year periods over, who knows how many people are gonna own it. And all the promises made by the first guy aren't necessarily relying on the second guy, keeping them up. There's a lot of risk. Technology change. Solar panels look like a great thing today. You know, phone-line internet looked like a great thing 15, 20 years ago. You know, how much phone-line internet as far as the old style? Now it's cable, it's a lot of different things. Also, when you think about this, I mean, in this brochure, they're nice enough to say, oh, we're gonna do all these nice things. We're gonna let cattle graze and sheep graze, and we're gonna do all these great things, keeping them up. Well, anytime you let sunlight hit the ground, you don't have a crop plan, you get a plant to grow. And a definition of a weed is a plant that's not supposed to be there. Well, if you're letting the sun hit the ground, you're not capturing for solar. But yet, what if they don't have these animals below eating it, or they don't like the weeds that are growing? So what kind of mess are you gonna have underneath these, solar panels? They go in there and say, we're gonna mow. Okay, great. It's kinda wet out right now, but we mowed anyway. Now we got ruts. And all the farmers, we do a lot of work keeping our ground level so it drains. Well, what do ruts do? They collect water. What's water doing? It breeds mosquitoes. You don't mow them, you get ragweed. Creates a lot of pollen. So there's a lot of questions that need to be answered about how these companies are gonna upkeep them. They say they're gonna do a good job. I'm not saying they're not, but they have no track record. Zero. Okay, these rents, I call them the hog buyer rent. Basically, hog buyers buy pigs for 10 cents more than they have to pay. Well, these companies started out at $800-900 an acre, now they're up to $1,700 an acre. They're gonna keep going because the cost of renting that ground is nothing compared to what they're gonna make, what it costs to put these things in. So first people signing got 800, now they're already going for 1,700. When you think of what the solar farm is worth, what they pay in lease for payments, that's nothing. So, they're paying what they have to get people to do it for. So basically, and the quicker they do this, what they do is they go and they pick off these people, and they get this guy, and then this guy, and then this guy to do it. Then they say, well, your neighbor did it, or, and the quicker they can do this without rents getting out, the less they're getting rented for. So basically, I look at these 20-year leases as reverse mortgages. Basically, they're gonna pay you all this money up front. You're gonna get these big wad of money that you think's fantastic. Well, if you do a reverse mortgage on your house, at the end of the 20 years, your house is worth nothing. You don't own it anymore. Well, on this farm ground, they're gonna pay you all this money, but right now, farm ground sells for $12,000 to $15,000 an acre. And what's farm ground going to sell for in 20 years? Current rate of inflation, maybe it's gonna be $20,000 to $25,000 an acre. Well, if the company's bonds fail, or it changes hands enough time, or technology changes, and you don't need solar farms, like they currently are today, who's cleaning up this mess? Okay, you're gonna make the landowners clean it up? You're talking about wire and poles, and I'm sure you guys all drove by them. So, you want this all over your county? And I'm not saying that's gonna happen. I'm just saying if you don't have foresight and do some due diligence, it could happen. So, one question that was posed to them is, if this is such a great deal for the landowners, fine, I'm gonna sell you my ground. Just give it to me. I'll get on the ice cream, what you pay me for my ground. We don't wanna own the ground. Why not? Are they that sure they're gonna make it all nice and in their 20 years, they don't pay my lease payments? Well, if it's gonna be so great, why wouldn't they just wanna own the ground? They'd have to put out a lot more capital. They're planning on paying you your rents with inflated dollars. So, in the end, is your property gonna be worth anything? Is the land that you guys are currently taxing to get revenue for your school districts, for your townships, and all that, what's it gonna be worth? What if these companies last 10 or 12 years? Is the county gonna clean them up? I don't think so. I think Cumberland County does a good job just trying to get by on what we got. I don't think you guys have a few dollars for here and there to clean up solar farms. And there has to be, I don't know enough about solar panels to know if they break, if they stay there for the long term. I don't even know what's in them. Don't know. If they get left out there, do they contaminate groundwater? Do they not? I have no idea. Questions need to be answered. So I deal with setbacks in the swine industry. I learn how to live with them. It's kind of a negotiation between the livestock industry and landowners and house owners. But at least it sets a line to where I know what I'm allowed to do, the landowner knows what he's allowed to do, and it's give and take. There is nothing right now for solar farms. They go where they want to go. And I think that's a pretty risky venture, when they're moving as fast as what they're moving. To not have some time to say, whoa, let's just step back and look at this. You know, Todd's a good friend of mine. We both agree that property rights are very important. Because if you own a piece of property, you should be able to do what you want with the property. Well, to a point. You know, if you're the guy, and I know in Cumberland County, there are lots of these, you own a house, nice $500,000 house out in the country, you're sitting on 2 or 3 acres, and you've got your family, you're there, then all of a sudden the farmer that owns all the ground around you signs it up for solar. You want your house surrounded with solar panels, personal choice. Don't know. You want the piece across the ground where you look out your window every day, you want to sign up for solar panels. Don't know. You know, that's where, should there be step backs, you know, before these panels go, you know, there's a house down the road from me, it's gonna get surrounded, if this all goes. He's got about 5 acres, it's gonna be surrounded on 3 sides. Don't know, I'm just saying, these are things that I think the county's gonna have to take a look at. Yoga is really concerned that there's about 5 or 6 landowners that could surround that town with about 6 signatures. And there's 2 on the west, 2 on the north, and about 2 out by the interchange. Those guys decide they want solar panels, Yoga's done. I don't know about Toledo, I don't know about Greenup. But when you have those 6 landowners own hundreds of acres on all bordering your town, what are they gonna do? Yoga has zoning 1.5 miles out, and that goes out from their city things. You know, they don't know what they're gonna do yet, because they gotta be equal and fair between the city and the town, so it's things they're looking at. You know, there's a piece of ground that the solar company wants pretty bad. It's got the Yoga Cemetery sitting out there. You want your cemetery surrounded by 3 sides of solar panels? Don't know. This is all about this, thinking it through. There's also financial concerns for both parties. You know, if I'm an older gentleman, and you know what, I'm short of income, and I'm 82 years old, and I'm not gonna live for 20 years, I don't have anybody to hand my ground down, they're gonna give me $1,500 an acre, or $1,700 an acre, I'm having a tough time making it. Hey, you know, that's a lot of money coming in real quick. That's not my problem. But there's also, you know, I know people who have broken down houses next to their houses, that can't stand living next to them. So, also, what's that make people's houses? Are they gonna come in, a solar farm gets built around your house, will you come into the tax assessor's office and say, my house is no longer worth this, lower my taxes? Don't know. But if I was, if it was me, I would, because I personally, my own personal, I don't want them. I don't want to look at them. I'm gonna look at a hog barn. But that's my business. So you're gonna have that starts happening. There's gonna be people coming in from a tax standpoint saying, lower my taxes. Show me where it increased the value of my home. I had a $500,000 home. Now I've got solar panels on 3 sides of it. You know, I'd like to move to a different town, but I don't want to live here, but now I can't sell my house because nobody wants to live here. Or if I do, I gotta take a big discount. When that discount happens, that takes the assessed valuation down. So you guys are setting yourselves up for less tax revenue if you aren't careful with how you approach this. Unfortunately, this puts this board in a very difficult situation because these companies are moving really, really fast. And they've got thousands and thousands of acres they're trying to get signed up as fast as possible. You're gonna have to make some short-term decisions. You're gonna need to make some long-term decisions. You're gonna have to, and I think you're gonna get in front of this. And I don't know what's right for Cumberland County. I don't know what the setback should be. I don't know how all this should be handled. But if you guys need to be able to figure out a way, call time out for a while and say, give us 6-12 months. Let us do research. Let us call other, municipalities that's doing it. I know Edgar County's been doing this. I know there's a lot of different counties that are doing this. I really believe that you guys need to pass a resolution that this calls time out. I'm not saying you should say no solar panels in Cumberland County. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying call time out and figure it out before you've got people whose lives have been changed because now they're living around, you know, and again, maybe they're gonna be great, maybe not, but at least call time out and say, let's figure this out, what's best for our county, do research on it.
Has anybody signed up, east of 45?
Yes, well, based on the,
It's
Based
actually
on
in
what I-
Cumberland County.
on the east side of Cumberland County,
Well, no,
East of 45.
east of 45 in Cumberland County, because you got
yes,
Shelby.
I know some neighbors that said they're going to sign as soon as they see what Neoga does.
The one in the city limits would fit into that, yes.
Yes,
In Cumberland County.
yeah,
It's in Cumberland County.
yeah, so it's right smack in the middle of the city.
Yes.
It's, so it's right in the middle of the city.
Are they crossing the county line? Cause over our way, they hate those county lines, we cross them, we keep from it.
Doesn't seem to be making any difference, they're going right along that Shelby, Cumberland County line, pretty hard.
Yeah, 'cause- and I don't know, let's say that they sign up 400 acres, that's, I don't know, maybe they sign up, 400 acres, that's half mile from the transmission line. Are they gonna be able to declare eminent domain and go back, and make you let them run their power line across you? Like they're doing with this big line that's going across the county? I don't know.
I'm probably speaking out of place here. I have studied contracts from 2 companies now on this subject. March changed my world. I'm a tenant farmer, basically. We've tenanted off of 32 different landowners. 20 some of those are probably gonna go with the solar program. So you can kind of figure out where I'm at. I'm from Hazeldale area, basically, Block Church. The reason they're picking on our area is those power lines that go east and west. The ones going east are taking it to the eastern grid for the electricity, just the same as the big power line he mentions. One thing I wanted to get sure, he said 20 years. If I sign that contract today, it's a 47-year commitment. It's 7 years pre, 20 years then, and 2 5-year extensions. It's 47 years total. And that's quite a commitment. I could tell you a lot more things about it, but that's one thing I want you to understand. It is a 47-year commitment. The figure that he probably is throwing out, which is true, there is a 2%, 3%, some kind of percent annual increase in that. It does get quite friendly, like if you take a $900 pre, it goes up to $1,400 by the end of 47 years. And there's lots of different ways they get these. There's 2 companies in our area. I'm sitting in the one, they wanna make 3,000 acres. And that's the one, that's a very large one. This all boils down to the Newton Power Plant, in order to shut it off, needs 9,000 acres to shut it down. The solar people basically lead me to believe that they will shut it down for the daytime. The night, it will pick it up, because they do not want to talk about batteries for these systems, because they have not got a battery system to work. So that's the purpose of the acreage. I mean, there is a $1,500 one right down the county line, and it does never cross that county line. And it goes right down. Another one in Clark County is in Clark County, never crosses the Cumberland County line. The substation is in Cumberland County, but the solar field is not. Then there's a second one, right, if you go to Casey and you go south and you curve, this is in Clark County again, but there's another 1,400 acre one. You live on my road, which is 2,100. You go across the interstate, which is basically 3 more miles north of me, they're gonna build a 1,400 acre one. The 1,400 acre one and the one I call the Cumberland County line, those 2 systems they're getting payments for it. They are officially on the go. They probably will go online unless our government does something or something does something. One thing, Ameren until last year was anti-solar company because they had all these power plants. Our great governor, somewhere in all of last year's voting, decided to increase Ameren's incentive to build solar, to be able to get on the solar project. There's a company called MISO, and all I know is it exists. Their purpose for MISO is letting availability, a solar company has to go through MISO to get on these power lines. The deadline for that is a yearly deadline, and it is September 1. That's why they're really pushing hard right now. They want the acres, I mean, you folks don't have the time to fight it right now. Maybe next year, but it's down to the line. They have come up with some contracts that they call them commitments. If you'll say you commit to us, so they can go to MISO and say, we got 15, the minimum they'll take for us is 1,500. I think they probably have that. I know of one large farm that's already in that one, so it's halfway. That's all I need to say.
So, I don't think everybody kind of, anyway, I think you guys are in an unfortunate situation, where you're gonna have to, you got, no decision is a decision. And
Well, we were at a conference.
so, thank you.
Thank you. We're at a conference up in CCI in Galena, and that was brought up, the whole thing, about, like, 'cause they're coming, it's, like you said, a lot of counties are having this problem. And they gave us some, ideas on what to do on resolutions and stuff. And then they also said there was this, what did they say, on the governor's desk or a legislative that says it's gonna take it out of local control completely. And they were supposed to vote on it this fall, is what they said up there. So, I mean, make sure you hit your state reps and your senators to make sure they don't vote for that, to let it take out, cause then we don't have any control. I agree, I think they're, cause you, like you said, there's, I knew the three coming on the east side, and one down by Hayes and all that, and I knew they were all around 2,000 to 3,000 acres, but I didn't know how, I mean, what it all entailed or any of that stuff, or any of that.
There is an agreement, when you sign a contract with them, there's a 10-page agreement with the Illinois Department of Ag on cleanup that explains what they have to meet at cleanup, if there's any money to do it.
Yeah, right.
What's that, Bryce?
That's a big if.
Yeah.
So maybe with the ideas of doing it.
Well, they did, they said there were some resolutions that Jason Brokaw had to, I don't really know if it was, not to stop it, but to help us slow it down.
How are these things taxed in these counties that already have? Like, how's the solar farm
There's
taxed?
a formula, Kenzie said.
Yeah, Kenzie sent it to me, and something the state sent to her on the formula.
That's why I knew the formula.
$100 per acre with a hitch, I think. I heard like $5,000.
Till it's changed.
An acre, just in. Put the solar panel, I heard you're gonna spend $500,000 putting solar panels in 1 acre ground, that's what I heard, I don't sure enough. So you put $500,000 in 1 acre ground, and, so that's about it, get kind of steep, you know?
Yeah, but if they come back, just like power plant over there did, and we have to pay all that money back, then we're happy.
And over time, the panels start to produce less. It's not as
As a
efficient.
matter of fact, there was an interesting article, I can't remember what magazine it was from, I have it on my news feed on my internet, of, large landfills of solar panels out in Colorado, or California, out in California. They don't need them, they're no good anymore or whatever, and so you just throw them in the landfill.
I might say, if it's a solar field that's been built the last about 8 months, they are changing solar panels. They're changing so they pick the radiation from above, and when it hits the ground, it comes back. So a lot of these solar fields are changing it because it makes them more efficient. And another thing that's come out through all what my discussion is, where do you get rid of solar panels?
Well, that's what I said, this article said landfills.
Africa. That's where they ship it to, Africa.
I know there were a lot of landfills out in California, apparently.
They got a bunch of little people chipping out
Taking out the chips.
Rare minerals.
You ask them where they're made. We had a question and answer manual with the Savion people, who is my main one. And we asked them where they were made. Southeast Asia. Instead of China, they said Southeast Asia. And another thing, they bucked and balked at that question and answer is, what's your tax incentives? We don't get any tax incentives. Yes, they don't get any tax incentives, they get credits. It's just a matter of how you ask the question. They're very large companies. Savion is a 9-year company, already in existence for 9 years, and they have never, once they get it promoted, they sell it off. They never finish one. They say they're going to now because they're owned by a European shell company. I mean, Shell Oil.
It will be just like that, outline that was going to go through here.
I got a letter from them yesterday.
Green line? Or green belt?
Green Belt Express.
We just got a letter from them too. What's it say? It's, telling them that they've already got they already got the proposed route and approved, or with the, letter sent to the, ICC on it, knowing what to do, basically. Starting from the Mississippi River in Pike County to the Indiana border, 207 miles.
I have a runway on my property and they're concerned about it.
Yeah. They said they get certified for the construction.
They applied with the Illinois Commerce
They
Commission,
filed an application for certification and necessary to construct the green belt,
but the Illinois Commerce Commission has not,
not approved
has
it.
not approved it. We are fighting, they are, those group are fighting,
Mhm.
but they are, it's up in the area too.
Well, I think, did Missouri okay it or something like that, to our border?
No, not well, no, I don't know, I thought you're right, but.
I was thinking that they had,
Anybody know
they'd
out there?
taken care of all.
I'm not sure about Missouri, but I can tell you a little bit about kind of what's been happening here in Illinois. So the ICC, they extended, their deadline, by an additional 75 days, so they have to, make a decision by March 8th of 2023. The ICC approved this line back in, 2014, so, I mean, they're probably gonna approve it again. And then that's essentially that's when a suit will be filed. But I will say, something they filed for it was the same, primary and secondary route that we've seen all along. There were no changes there. And then as far as the route corridor, it looks like they're asking for, a larger corridor along the route, so,
You mean a larger wattage or bigger wires, the way I understood it. Is that way you see it?
So it says route corridor, so it looks like 1,000-foot route corridor, with 500, so route corridor is defined as 1,000 total feet wide with 500 feet extending on either side of the center line of the approved route. And the final permanent easement is not supposed to exceed 200 feet wide in most places, but with a permanent easement, it could be located anywhere within the 1,000-foot route corridor, without seeking additional commission approval. So again, and as far as, so on, like, Illinois Farm Bureau, the Illinois Farm Bureau Board, they have, they'll be intervening in the case, on behalf of the landowners, Farm Bureau landowners, so, that's pretty well the only update that I've got now. So again, ICC has till March 8th to make a decision. They approved it back in 2014, so with the new, the legislation written specifically for this project, I mean, there's,
Like you said, sir, this is a big company, right? Energy.
yeah, so.
All these solar companies are big companies, so
Yeah.
it's a tough fight.
And so they, like with Greenbelt, it was Clean Line Energy back in 2014. It didn't go through. They had a couple projects. There was one up in northern Illinois as well. Didn't go through. They then have sold it, and now this company is going forward on that. And I will mention, in regards to solar, a potential solar ordinance, even wind. There's been a lot of wind, or of some wind kind of throughout the county, wind turbine, wind farms. Illinois Farm Bureau is a resource. Farm Bureau, we have experts on things like this. I know Edgar County worked with their county farm bureau and our state staff. So we would be happy to help with anything on that aspect. As far as if if that is something you guys wanted to do with a solar ordinance or a wind ordinance. I know, I was talking with the Edgar County Farm Bureau manager today, and he's been working closely with his county board to get a solar and wind ordinance in place.
I would like to give permission to Brian to work with the Farm Bureau to like figure out something, to do something, whether, for both, whether it's slow it down.
Well, I think-
Again, I agree, I don't want to take it out of the landlord's tank, but I think something needs to be.
And I will
So
say, so Farm Bureau, we don't, we obviously, we don't take a position on it, we stay neutral. In reality, in our, in our policy handbook, we say that we're in favor of renewable energy. So I can't, like, we wouldn't necessarily be here to stop it,
No.
but,
I would also recommend that he work with our UCCI, who Jason Brokaw, their lawyer, who, I mean, that's what he
Yeah.
does legislative,
Yeah.
so, to work with both, just so we, because the local and the state, wherever we can get something. That's what I'd like to suggest, whatever.
yeah,
That's important.
we will be like, our side is gonna be looking out for landowners, farmers, and things like that.
That's what I'd like to do, I mean, I don't know what you.
I would also have, I would get with Kenny too on just taxing of it too, how that all works, what we can and can't do. And how that works, what we can hold them accountable to. Cause it needs to be regulated to some degree by us.
Problems with the state passes it when they're in control.
Well, yeah, once the state passes it, they do.
Accept property tax on those people.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Not the first time the state screws.
It's just like no one was in control after the Reliant Energy went down.
Yeah.
Absolutely, nobody had
Make a
control
motion
either.
to authorize Brian to.
I would make a motion to have Brian and,
Farm Bureau and UCCI.
UCCI and Farm Bureau, get together and start working on
To
that.
have him, authorize him to talk to them about getting an
Right.
ordinance for both wind and solar.
For both wind and solar, yes.
You just need a committee, essentially.
Before we vote, any more discussion, anybody? Yeah, go ahead.
Jason Probst, I guess I'd look at it as, when you come up with an ordinance, looking at having an ordinance put in place, you may wanna look at having a moratorium put in place as far as any new construction, until you have time to put stuff in place. That is, some of the counties have done that with the wind projects put in place, so you may, it's just something to look at, to give you more time, and see where things are at. Just to have that time, and like I said, you wanna look at wind and solar together, because they are essentially cousins in this project, and what's going on with the tax credits that are out there.
You say a moratorium on all construction?
On all construction, until you know, give yourself time to understand what's out there, what's going on. And that's happened on some of the wind projects.
That would be houses and garages and everything?
No, just on the building of those projects, of wind and solar.
Okay, on the solar and
On wind and solar projects, until you have time to study them. Not all construction, but just those.
Yeah, when you said construction, I was thinking.
No, they'll never fly, but on those particular.
You're right.
Because of, as Roger said, the background and trying to get up to speed and whether it is, as moving fast, to give yourself time to set things in place, so that you can have a proper, whether you're in favor or not, where you wanna be, but it gives you time to study the information and not be rushed into it out there.
Thank you, yeah.
And see if, they can, moratorium.
Yeah, I'll meet with Brian tomorrow.
When they all meet.
Okay, so Ron and Floyd, so, Beard?
Yes.
Finn?
Yes.
Harmon?
Yes.
Wolfenbrick?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Yes. Any other discussion? Move on. Thank you guys, everybody, for coming in.
Okay.
Anybody else? Yes, I'm sorry, sir.
This company here is going to put in 10,000 acres worth of wind turbines in a radius from the other substation. So they will include most of Cumberland and Shelby. And you guys will be finding out about it in late fall, because that's when they're gonna pick up on through discussions, and then they're gonna start scheduling meetings and stuff like that, they said.
They can't put in wind turbines if we have a solar farm over there.
Yes, they came in, they want to work with them and commingle them together.
Do they?
Yep. And Shelby County has an ordinance against wind turbines already, but not solar. And you guys have nothing on anything.
What's the name of that company?
Cordilio, it's from Canada.
CORDBLIO, power.
And then the ones these people are gonna do, they're gonna be the big ones, so there'll be one per 80 acres. And they say that their energy from it is going to go back out to like Kansas and Missouri. And then the Clean Belt's gonna take their energy from there across there. Indiana. That's the plan. And they claim that they have 4,500 acres of the 10,000 already signed out of these here. Like, that guy over there in the blue shirt was talking about the so-called lease agreements to get you on the hook. They claim that they have 4,500 acres out of the 10,000 of these signed already.
Are you saying in Illinois or how big an area?
No, from, like this area here, 10,000 acres in a radius.
Around the Neoga substation.
Around the over substation, yeah.
Anybody else? Thank you, sir. Thank you, all you guys, for coming out and giving it. We will work on that and see something soon. I'll be Brian tomorrow. All right.
They don't go put chemical down with an airplane at all, will they, all those windmills down?
No problem.
We'll need your runway. I just time it when that color goes by, just kind of time it.
Aim for it, so maybe you miss it.
We don't need any corn being built in. We don't need corn being. All about global warming, I'm more worried about food shortages.
Yeah. All right, thank you. Well, all right. Discuss and take action on the ambulance contract. You guys got to see it. Last year. Questions? Second?
Well,
No, it's the same as last year. Next year's are asking.
oh, okay.
That's just.
It's just the contract was done last year. It was already levied, it's the stuff that's already levied. Second? Yes, motion carries. I need a motion to appoint Mike Black to the Service Area Commission for Area 3. Yeah, that's request. That's request for, that's for the budget.
Okay, go ahead.
I need a motion to appoint Mike Black for Area 3. That would give him 4 for the board. Because Terry's is
I'll make that motion.
second.
Nephew. You clean?
No, not really, but.
Second.
I don't think, I
Guess not.
can't make it say no, I don't think, because
Keep close relation?
nephew.
What's the matter with that? I wouldn't call that a
Last one, right? motion to approve the plat for Irwin Richardson. We had a plat meeting earlier. Out at Neoga. Like Camp New. Get it all set back, everything ready? Jake, you said it all looks good?
Yep.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Hockenry,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Fitch,
Yes.
Harvey,
Yes.
I think it's fine.
No,
I'm just like, moving along.
Almighty.
Alright. I need a motion to approve the liquor license for Muddy Bottoms Bar and Grill. We had a meeting for your committee earlier. It's the one on Union Center Road. I think that Union Center, or Union Township passed their, yeah, they passed. Seven votes. Nope, was it Muddy Bottoms?
I'll make it.
Ron, second?
I'll second.
Awesome.
Black,
Yes.
Beard, Fitch, Harvey,
Yes.
Hockenry,
Yes.
Yes, motion carried. I need a motion to approve the liquor license for Bob Wallace Orchards. They're in Union Township too, and they sell wine out of their, right now they're in Coles County, they're just moving to their house and selling, manufacture it. And they just ship it. So they need a license. Second?
I'll second that.
Beard, Fitch,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
Hockenry,
Yes.
Black,
Yes, motion carried. Alright, I need a motion to approve the resolution to obligate, ARPA funds for public health and negative economic impact. So you should have in your packet, it's all in that. Any questions about that?
That's on page 9.
I just wanna make sure that day came, that's
It's
in
on this
writing.
one, that's not this one.
Oh,
yes.
Oh, this one, oh, they, sorry, not, you're right.
um,
But they have to spend the money before they can get money. And they have to show every dime, every penny that they.
Well, if they spend the money and we still, we don't approve it.
Well, they're gonna do it either way. They're
We'll
gonna
do it either way.
my only concern was just giving the money without seeing completion. I just wanna make sure that we're covered, that we're not giving $200,000.
Yeah. No, they have to send bills to us.
As a company.
As a company.
Yeah, and then we pay as a company.
But, again, just because they build it and it's completed, it needs to be in operation.
Mhm.
So is there anything we wanna have in there, or can we put it in there saying they have to be in operation for 3 years, and they have to pay it
Pay it
back?
back.
Well, I think you're gonna have to, because he was talking about having Sunday school in there and, banquets and all kinds of stuff. It sounded more like an extension of the church instead of,
No,
No, they're gonna-
well, I understand it, I wanna say this is gonna
Oh,
be
this is across the street.
separate, 'cause I asked that too, if it's just for the church, and from my understanding, it's gonna be an actual.
Yeah, it's not connected to the church. It's not
If
across
they
the
wanna go
street.
to their church over there, they can, but.
well, yeah, but I thought
So
he
the
said,
church is
that-
not
I
getting
thought
exemptions.
he stood there, he stood there and said that upstairs was gonna be used for Sunday school classes.
Yeah, I mean, they can still use it.
It's
But
their
they're-
facility.
It's their facility.
It's
They
their
can still-
facility, yeah.
They can still use it as a church, but they'll, they're at Sunday school, but they don't use it, during the week as
For the
daycare.
daycare, business.
That's what I was getting at. What you said.
But yeah, I agree, I think we need to let this have a stipulation
Okay, we make contract then.
that they need to be in operation. They get that kind of money. So I think it's a great thing, for sure.
I think it's,
I think it'd be awesome.
we need one for
Yeah.
our area.
Is that something that needs to be done in September then, on that specific subject?
And we're not giving them money. I mean, they're
Or you
either
say
way.
them after that?
We can-
Tonight, we just approved the 200 for the day.
We're just obligating it right now.
So,
We're expending it, but then we don't have to give.
yeah,
There's not-
well, we can, it's that we don't have to do tonight.
No.
We can, good with that. So I'll make the motion then.
For us. Second?
Fitch,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
Colton,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Yes, motion carried. I need a motion, to approve the resolution to obligate opera funds for government services. That's the next one.
That's all this.
What was the ambulance was on
page
the,
12.
It's on page 12.
the ambulance was on the number 9 one also, right?
It's, yes,
So when we, I'll say for that, I'll say for
yes.
Either
For the
did you
ambulance,
take it?
200.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure because we were talking about church only and this.
I was kidding. I was kidding.
That's up.
No, it's, I left it up to the
I was
agency.
kidding.
They want it. Do I have to have it? No, but it would be.
It would be, absolutely.
So it's gonna go up?
Any motion
For the other one?
for the government,
Probably
government
not.
services? Page 12.
Yeah.
So, well, I need the digitizing, get your ticket. Electronic ticket. Harmon?
Yes.
Colton, Black,
Yes.
Beard? Fitch,
Yes.
Black.
Yes, motion carried. I need a motion to approve the resolution to expend the ARPA funds for public health and negative impact.
Second.
Who makes the first? Bryce?
Colton,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Fitch,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
Yes, motion carried. I need a motion to approve the resolution to expend ARPA funds for government services.
Black,
Yes.
Beard, Fitch,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
Colton,
Yes.
Yes, motion carried.
need a motion over here.
We need a motion to open the bids for the next, for the building here.
There we go.
Who's making?
I'll make it.
Bryce?
We got it.
Fitch,
Come here, Roy.
it's 8:09.
Yes.
Harmon, Colton,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Beard, Beard,
Yes.
Yes, motion carried.
okay,
We got three?
4.
I thought they supposed to be a full.
Last time, let's see what they're on. Yeah, but we can do that.
Why didn't you bid, Floyd?
I put you up on top and I'll throw it over there.
Alright.
I paid to see it.
I
paid to see it.
Well, hell, we'll make it right.
Hey, we're making money already.
We're charging now, we won't have to get up there, right?
You're right.
I wanna see you
This
carry those
one-
shingles on your back.
This
out
is
there.
from Marvon Construction out of Sullivan. And their total price would be $83,500. That's purposes shingles with cavity and disposal of dumpster with the installed bid. Valleys. Install new power lines.
Better than the other.
Same thing. Oh, no, wait, sorry. Well, this one was for, the other one they put in was for that was just for shingles.
Okay.
And then this was 83.5.
Okay.
And then this one, I'm not sure. Metal, this one's the metal one. 110,900. And then there's a third one, metal, different kind of metal. I don't know if this was a 15-year, did we ask for a 15-year or something? Or
50 years.
50-year shingle, but, there's probably just a cheap corrugated, or that might look like actual shingles.
Shingles, those are expensive.
This is standing seam.
Yeah. All right, this other metal one is $202,250.
There we go.
All right.
At least that solar panels will look hot and
Well, that's an idea right there.
Get paid.
All right, so this one, Central Roofing out of Sullivan.
Sullivan, huh?
Steel, this one's steel.
He's all
10-year.
Sullivan, Illinois, I assume, or Indiana.
Sullivan, Illinois. Yeah. For a steel one, $150,090.46. Except for
You have shingles?
Did the other one talk about the, repairing of the plywood?
Did any of them talk about it? Extra charge if it's for the Marvin construction
$120 per
per hour,
plus cost of material to replace any shingles.
This one, tear off, install, own shingles, county building.
Same company?
Yeah, same company, $69,735.27. $69,735.27. Removing your. Alright.
Who's this?
This is, Peters Buildings. Peters Buildings here now. For shingles, 50-year shingles is $112,051.56.
Shingle, 112.
Yeah, oh, that's for the 50-year shingles that
Okay.
we're talking about.
They're not metal shingles.
That's what we had on our quote, right, or our request was.
50-year. That's a lot of insurance.
Oh, that's their insurance. Is that everything?
Is he doing that?
That previous one, say, the deer, she was, central region.
I don't see it. No, 'cause I think he told me he doesn't do metal.
It's an Owens Corning.
But I'm not sure. He said he would use all his materials from Scott Building Center and use local labor. He says, I'm not comfortable installing metal roofs on the building, and so that's what we're gonna get a quote. So, that's his quote.
I don't know what they think the shingles for this.
Just wanna make sure we're comparing apples to apples. Make
Central
sure.
Roofing, Owens Corning,
True definition duration.
true definition duration shingles. Owens Corning.
We'll just have to double check.
I just can't imagine it being.
This is Owens Corning duration 50-year shingles, titanium underlay.
That's for Peters.
Mhm.
I've got builders, that's probably higher. I'm just guessing.
That's Peters. And then the last one. This is Jane F. Oh, the same town, Gialato Construction, at Dyers, Indiana.
That's your quote last time.
Mhm. Shingle 65,420. Your standing shingle roof is 169,000.
How did you come down so much?
And what?
Didn't you do it last time?
Oh, what, from our shingles?
For the roof? Yeah, we got a quote earlier.
I thought it was the same price for both.
No, it was different. It was high for the metal.
I got it right here.
What was the metal?
Last year. it was
169.
169.
I'm sorry.
No, that's for shingles. I don't see them.
For shingles.
So now it's 65?
Hold on.
That's the
Metal
metal.
was
That's metal.
Okay, yeah.
That's shingles.
164.
So it's 169 was metal and 165, or 65 was the shingles, what did you say?
Just 65? Or 165?
One, for metal is 169.
Okay.
And for shingles is 65,420. What was that last time? 49, or lower,
That's higher now.
higher now?
Hold on. That can't be right.
No, because it was
You
over
got
there.
the original copy from last time? Got it?
That's Floyd's bid.
I don't believe you guys read it properly the last time, cause that standing metal is just one sentence. And the shingle was right above it.
We were confused last time when we did, I'm trying to figure out what it was.
How much are we getting from the
105 from state.
105 in the state?
We have a little bit of ARPA money, I guess, we could do it, we don't have much left of that.
Is that one? Is the other one?
No, the 49,000 was a payment.
No, I thought it was.
Then
for
it
shingles.
says, with
The
payments
payments
to
are
be
made
made
as
as followed. But the price
All materials guaranteed to be certified completed.
is right here,
Just some of
164,000.
65.
That's for metal.
Or
That's-
shingles.
That says for
Unless I'm reading it wrong.
standing seam in place.
I thought when when I talked to him, he would say he was giving a shingles and a metal. When I talked to him, way back, I haven't talked to him since then.
Yeah, that doesn't- that doesn't change. I think I just shoot
Yeah.
stuff. Well, yeah. What could be higher than last year?
All right.
Anything possible.
They want payments of half down upon signing and balance upon completion is what it's saying.
Are they talking about engagement metal or number of years of metal will go? Because there's a big difference in price between 110,000 on metal and 169,000.
I don't see anything. I see a 5-year contract with guarantee.
Yeah,
It
this is
says.
just a payment. Yeah, that's how I read it.
That's just your thing. You have to pay that up front.
Yeah.
That's just tough.
164 was there. Yeah.
Shingles.
One only bid for shingles?
Yeah.
164 is their bid for shingles?
Well, that's the old one.
That's the old one.
That's the last.
The new one is.
169.
65.
65, 420.
420.
Well, that's for the shingles, yes.
Yeah,
That's what that was, that's
That was shingle too, yep.
164.
For metal.
$100,000.
No.
Can I see that? Okay, it says, oh, that price, okay, I see that, but the 49,335, he said was for shingles, when he
Yeah,
called. But I see what you're saying, that price there, that's for the standing seam, 164. Alternate standing seam.
So he went up.
Not a lot,
No.
And then
not a lot, very low.
you did have it, that.
I would just question on some of these that are shingles, whether they're 50-year or not. 'Cause I can't imagine Peter's being 112 and somebody else being 69,000, God almighty.
Oh my, yes, they're not.
But that's what the requirement was, right, on the bid.
I was told for a business, you can't do a 50-year, but you can do a you know, it's a good shingle, it's not a 50-year like a residential.
Yeah, we requested a 50-year, well, I mean, at least it's 50-year for residential. It may not stand that for here, but that's kind of what we were wanting.
The 50-year type shingles.
Yes.
Is that what you're getting? You didn't put in bid, but that's what you should be getting.
Limited life.
You can't put in bid then.
I don't know. Look that up, see what it says on the internet.
For what?
What,
On which one?
read off what it was, didn't it? Well, the cheapest bid is J and F, isn't it?
Yeah.
65,
Yeah,
and it's a limited lifetime Owen Corning or, shingles,
It's yours.
limited lifetime Owen,
that's what it says.
what was it, after Owen?
Corning,
Corning
just like,
duration.
yeah, that's what, like the rest of them say. Owen's Corning, it didn't say, like Peter says, Owen's Corning, duration 50-year shingles, titanium underlayment,
Oh,
underlayment.
sure, it would be. We wouldn't be responsible for that.
10 years. So
They got that worded out, yeah.
Central has the 50-year, but they're only doing a 10-year workmanship warranty. Central Roofing is.
And you.
Warranty?
Workmanship warranty for 10 years, but the shingles supposed to last 50.
With the 50-year Owens Corning, providing owner with a 50-year Owen Corning manufacturer warranty.
And what's the name of that one?
That was Central Roofing.
$69,735,
The lifetime, limited lifetime shingles, 15, 20 years, it depends on the installation. That's all I see.
65?
Here, you got part of it, I guess.
I do too, are we bound for the lowest bidder, since we put out bids?
I don't think you have to go with us.
I don't think you have to.
Now, what are you talking about, local, are you talking about Sullivan is local? or are you talking
Peters.
about-
Just because he said, I mean, he says in here, he
He's
will
gonna
use,
buy them from,
he'll buy, he said,
Yeah, I understand all that.
he will use Scott Building Center as much materials as he can, and I will, use much of my local labor as possible to complete this job.
does he pay for minimum wage?
They have to.
I know they have to, but.
He says right here, Pat, man.
Okay.
That's their issue, we just have to present the paper.
Did they show, anything about it, insurance?
He gave us his insurance. Right here.
All of them did that? And it may not have been even in the, proposal.
Yeah, I can't.
Not for 47.
So are you looking at the one out of Indiana though? Is it really apples to
Shows
apples?
their certification.
Well,
Before you vote?
Because these Central Roofing doesn't have their insurance.
Haven't heard yet.
I'm still waiting on Floyd's bid.
I'm checking the wire.
No.
Just for a little bit, dollar less than that.
She didn't work for prevailing wage, is that what you're saying?
I get the prevailing wage.
Keeping the family, don't have that prevailing
She
wage.
gets the Mexican.
No, he is the one that shows it, but we didn't request that insurance.
Okay.
What do you guys want to do?
How much time do you have on this? I mean, that money's gonna be spent by when?
Next December.
Next December?
Yeah, so.
But these bids are only good for,
Say for
30 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we could do it at the
As
next meeting.
of today? Or when they were received?
I would assume it'd be the day you open it, but I don't know.
Make sure they work with us. Next board meeting.
I just wanna make sure we're getting.
this just says 30 days, and they are they withdraw the contract if not, or it says we'll withdraw the contract if it is. I'm trying to look at the date. This says July 28th.
I just like to know that we're comparing apples on the exact same shingle.
Yeah.
Wouldn't hurt to stay
I mean-
just a little bit longer.
Well, this one will be done before that, because it goes with from the date of the, July 28th.
Central was the next cheapest. What they have on their spec sheet.
They're the one with the 10-year, 50-year corning and manufacturing warranty.
So your 50-year, I think it's the same brand as what?
69, 7, 35, 27.
Are you getting a better shingle?
Well,
We don't know.
At least.
I mean, we think, but we don't
It
know.
said 50-year, and it says, Owen, wasn't it? Same as Peters?
I feel like if it was gonna be a 50-year, I'd put that in the bid.
It did say that.
I know, theirs did, I'm
Yeah.
saying the other ones.
Yeah, the other one did.
If they
so-
left it out, you're probably not, they're probably not beating that. I don't know.
This is 7/26, and it says 30 days. What else you wanna know?
You said 50-year,
It says
10-year
provide
warranty.
10-year workmanship warranty from Central Roofing LLC, provide owner with a 50-year Owen Corning manufacturing warranty.
It's 10-year warranty or
For the
whatever.
work.
well, yeah.
This Marbon is just the Owen Corning duration sheet. Doesn't say anything about 50.
In the last bid, I'm not sure about the 50. Yeah.
It doesn't say, it just says limited time Owen Corning.
They're from up around.
They're from Dyersville, Indiana. That's up by, he told me up by,
Gary, Indiana.
Gary, Indiana.
It's hard though for me, that's, I'm not tracking. I don't care.
Nor the baby.
No, not when you got somebody right in your backyard and two and something all on it, no.
I just know that grant was $105,000 is what we got from it. When we applied for it, we asked for a roof, for carpet, and for the switches over in the courthouse for that system.
And that was
What
my.
is it? Very first one. Make it rough. Marbon.
Yeah.
Gosh. That's the one I saw, or one, two, I saw. You can't just tell me somebody from Gary, Indiana, like, drive down here.
He's probably gonna get that on and
When no one from Sullivan, Illinois would do it for 69.
Huh?
No.
Does the other one, spell it all out, like, new drip edge and
Close.
all this stuff?
Yeah, this one, I mean, they said, I mean,
New, flashing for the pipe and
Yeah,
bridge
bed
vent,
speed
bridge
flashing.
cap and-
sealant, spray, trim, coil, nails, ice and water shield.
You're looking at the certain ones, right?
diamond deck underlayment.
They all have, I mean, they all have the same stuff.
I'm looking at Marvin,
Marvin, okay.
that was the first one.
Yeah, the 93.5.
They also have removing or tear off the 83.
83.5.
Yeah.
The other Sullivan one, Sullivan Illinois was 69.
Job material, shingles on the moisture guards, step by the range.
That's
So then it talks about, extra service for repairing the plywood, because we know we're gonna have that issue.
Mhm.
Did the other?
The other ones don't say anything about
Gonna
that.
talk about that?
Look at this one, it doesn't say anything about.
Get brains on that.
Or whatever, have a leak in there.
Yeah, it's sagged bad.
But he told me I had the drain.
Okay, this one, the central roofing charges $100 per sheet if, your rotten wood is discovered in an injury.
$100,
A sheet.
but no labor on top of that?
Yeah, that's labor included.
That's what I'm thinking, I assume.
$100 per sheet.
I mean, the child takes an hour putting it on there, it's still $100.
Still $100 sheet. No, this one, central roofing says $100 sheet.
Oh. It ain't hard to put down a sheet.
And the sheet will cost.
Depends on,
I
Half
don't know.
inch OS, or a half inch plywood, just half inch right now, but 32. That's decent.
Here doesn't say.
But still, I mean, even if it's
It
50,
says there is no,
they're charging 100. That should
yeah,
not be
replacement is needed.
That-
This will be done at the time of its
Covers
removal.
the cost also.
So,
Big difference between Peter and the others.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
what you wanna do?
I'm not so sure we shouldn't have a special meeting. I know a guy,
that knows the guy.
I know a guy that knows a guy that lives up in Sullivan, I can find out where he's supposed to.
I know someone from central roofing.
So they've done a lot of roofs here in town, I've seen a lot of their
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
They got big things.
So that's the 69,735?
Yeah.
I mean, if
I
you
know a
guys,
guy that works there.
the bid, their bid was good, I mean, in terms of
I'd be more happy
specifications.
with that than that.
I'm a no on the
What's
JF,
that?
I'll tell you
Oh,
that.
wow.
Go with
Yeah.
Central over JF.
Yeah.
I'm not hiring somebody from Gary Indiana.
You can. Go ahead and take the
But I am-
sample if you have, if you want to.
I mean,
You
it's
don't
like
have to take
50
the small
year and
one.
all that, so I think.
It says in our thing, it says, it says we can accept and reject any and all bids,
Okay, so we
or
have,
any and all proposals.
we have the right to take the second one, but
We want it.
I would feel comfortable with him, so.
You guys know, I'm not,
I don't know.
I'd rather do something closer.
We have shingle roof on, no metal. Be good enough for 20 years.
Oh, 50.
You'll be dead by then, so you don't have to worry about putting another one on later on.
Okay. Figure on that. So, I'll make the motion.
For-
Accept central roofing bid
Central roofing.
For shingles.
for shingles for 50 years. The $69,735.27.
My second.
I'll second it.
Harmon,
Yes.
Holcomb,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Fitch,
Yes.
No. Motion carried.
What's your,
All right, that was it for finally. All right, Bev.
I just need a motion to approve the county clerk and tax redemption reports for July 2022.
I'll make,
Second.
I'll second.
Holcomb,
Yes.
Black,
yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Fitch,
yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
Yes, motion carried.
that's all I have.
Jenny.
I need a motion to approve the treasurer's report for July 2022.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Who's second?
No.
Black,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Fitch,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
Holcomb,
Yes.
Yes, motion carried.
Only other thing I have is first installment has been distributed to all levy districts. Second installment is due a month from today, September 9th. And that's it.
All right, thank you.
Okay, first thing I got on the agenda is need a motion to approve the highway bills for July 2022.
$252,856.09.
Oh, man.
For a second,
I'll second it.
Beard,
Yes.
Fitch,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
Holcomb,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
yes, motion carried.
Okay, the second thing is a motion to approve the engineering agreement with Connor and Connor for the listed drainage section. And the history on this is, there was originally an engineering agreement, using this money, and it was to build a bridge to one house. And Lee Waller was the road commissioner. We had a road commissioner change now, and Randy Hampston is totally against that. He wants to use the money for two different areas. One has a box culvert, and one needs about a couple, or 3 pipes put in to handle the water. So it's a totally different engineering area, you know, a bridge versus two different areas, putting some pipes in a box culvert in. So we needed a different agreement. So
It's the same, it's the same place, except
no, it's a totally different, it's the same township, but, you know,
a
it's
totally
just
different place.
totally three different places. You count the bridge was one place, the box culvert's one place, and then an area that only has one pipe now, it needs about 3 to handle the water. So it's a total different,
How big is this box culvert, this concrete box culvert that you're replacing?
I think it's around 4x5, if I remember correctly.
And the metal pipe?
I think it's gonna take 3 36-inch.
I'm just a little confused why you would have a hired engineer to do the metal pipe.
It's just something, Randy wanted to add on. It needed the drainage studies. There's one 36-inch pipe there now and it's rusted out, and it always overfloods. So Randy had him, or was wanting to have him do the drainage study, but, Connor thought it would take about 3. I met out there with him, looked at it.
I'm gonna go back to we're not doing the bridge.
Not doing the bridge,
And what was the bridge? I'm not really familiar with it.
Okay, I don't remember the lady's, name that lives there. It's Taylor something. But there's a house, and they just drive across a ford to get to their house now, but it's been that way for years. And of course, they're wanting a new bridge, and I don't blame them.
That's your only way out, is through a ford?
Yes.
That could be a health hazard.
They just purchased that property not too long ago, didn't they?
Yes.
They knew what they were buying, I guess.
That's the road commissioner's argument right there. But like I said, it's a change in road commissioners, you know, so the exiting one had it set up for a bridge, and now the new one wanted to change, so.
And this other one will carry a lot more traffic and.
It'll benefit more people. It's the school bus route, the box culvert's on the school bus route.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Fitch,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
Holcomb,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Beard,
No.
Yes. Motion carried.
Okay. The last thing on my agenda is I talked to some of the board members about selling this 1995 Ford pickup on a online auction site. Well, I hit a snag because we don't have the title to this thing. So I can get a junk certificate for free. It takes about 2-3 months, and then we can take it to the junkyard, or I can purchase another title and we can still sell it the way I talked to you guys about. But it's not a very good truck. The transmission shifts really hard, and we'll probably get about $500 out of it.
It's about what you'll probably get this spring.
So like I said, I probably didn't have to bring it up, but since I had already talked to you guys about instead of selling it, you know, the traditional way by sealed bids, I was wanting to try something new. Well, I hit the snag by not having the title, so.
Don't have a title, you can't scrap it either.
Yeah, you can.
So you get the.
Oh, you get the junk title.
It's a salvage certificate, they call it a DMV.
I'm good with that.
Okay. That's what we'll do then.
Can I get a motion,
Come from.
can
It come from the state. It's we bought it in 2004.
Kyle makes a motion.
The one Mike Walker used to use to get for 911.
It's salvage chicken, so.
That's all I have.
And
Second.
911 didn't have it.
No one had it.
Okay. Harmon,
Yes.
Holcomb,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Fitch,
Yes.
Yes, motion carries. Anything else?
That's it?
Sure.
I have nothing, thank you.
Rhonda?
Nothing.
Mackenzie not here. Steve?
I have nothing.
Rhonda's not here. George Braden's not here. Steve Sherwood not here. Joe? You walk in? Michael, okay. Mark here. All right, I need a motion to ratify payment of July manual bills in the amount of $225,291.15.
I'll move.
Word second.
I'll second.
Holcomb,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Fitch,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
Yes, motion carried. I need a motion to approve the payments and invoices in the amount of $60,593.01. Second.
Second.
Black,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Fitch,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
Holcomb,
Yes.
Yes, motion carried. I need a motion to approve payment, payroll number 14 in the amount of $88,995.
I'll make it.
Right, second.
Beard,
Yes.
Fitch,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
Holcomb,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Yes, motion carried. I need a motion to approve payroll number 15 in the amount of $85,967.95.
I'll make it.
Kyle, second.
Fitch,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
Holcomb,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Yes, motion carried. I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make it.
Harmon,
Yes.
Beard, Fitch,
Yes.
Sorry.
It's the road project.
All right, before anybody leaves.
When's the-
I said somebody.